Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Gerard, and in today's video, we're going to talk about something that holds back many English learners: self-criticism. I'm going to share how I overcame it, how it affects our brains, and most importantly, how you can speak English fluently with confidence, no matter where you are in your journey. Before we jump in, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss any new content on mastering English. Let's get started. My struggle with self-criticism. Let me take you back to a few years ago, when I started my own English learning journey. I was terrified to speak. Every time I tried to form a sentence, I'd hear this little voice in my head saying things like, "You're going to mess it up. People are going to laugh at you." Or, "You'll never sound like a native speaker." I couldn't shake it. It felt like that voice was in control, and I couldn't escape it. Sound familiar? That inner critic isn't just some random thought. It's something deeply wired into our brains. And here's why. The psychology of self-criticism. Psychologically, self-criticism often stems from a natural survival instinct. Our brains are wired to detect threats. Back in the day, being judged or making a mistake in front of others could lead to social rejection, which meant being excluded from the group. So, our brains became super sensitive to criticism or failure because it was tied to survival. When we make mistakes or fear being judged, our brains react with stress and anxiety. It's a built-in defense mechanism. But here's the kicker. This negative self-talk actually holds us back from growing. The more we criticize ourselves, the more we reinforce that fear, making it harder to speak confidently. So, that's why I felt paralyzed when I tried to speak English. My brain was in a constant state of fight or flight, and I was too scared to make mistakes. But what I didn't know back then is that those mistakes are actually key to learning and growth. The turning point: rewiring the brain. At one point, I realized that the fear was taking over my life, and I needed to change my approach. The psychological truth is that our brains can rewire themselves. The more we face our fears and expose ourselves to situations that challenge us, the more our brains adapt and grow stronger. So, I decided to embrace my mistakes. I thought, what if I treat every mistake as an opportunity to improve? Instead of hearing my inner critic, I started to reframe it. Every time I made an error, I saw it as a sign that I was learning, not failing. How to overcome self-criticism and speak fluently. Now that we know why self-criticism happens, let's talk about how to break free from it and speak English confidently. Tip number 1. Change your self-talk. When you make a mistake, instead of saying, "I messed up again," try saying, "I'm learning, and I'm getting better every day." Rewriting that inner script can help shift your mindset. Science shows that positive self-talk releases dopamine in the brain, which makes you feel more motivated and less anxious. Tip number 2. Face the fear. Don't run from it. Your brain is wired to resist discomfort. But here's the secret. The more you face your fears, the more your brain learns to handle them. Challenge yourself to speak, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. The more you do this, the less scary it becomes. Tip number 3. Celebrate small wins. Every time you speak, no matter how small, celebrate it. Psychologically, this rewards your brain and reinforces the idea that you're progressing. So, take a moment to appreciate your hard work. Acknowledge the effort you're putting in. Tip number 4. Surround yourself with encouraging people. Research has shown that social support is crucial for overcoming self-criticism. Find friends, family, or online communities that cheer you on. Positive reinforcement helps your brain feel more confident and secure. Rewire your brain. Reclaim your confidence. Remember, overcoming self-criticism isn't an overnight process. It takes time to rewire your brain and change those negative thought patterns. But trust me, every time you challenge your inner critic and keep speaking, you're strengthening your confidence and your fluency. Now, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your mistakes don't define you, but how you react to them does. Embrace the mistakes, celebrate your progress, and be kind to yourself. You have everything you need to succeed.